Hi, thank you for doing this asynchronous session with us. We're going to start with building a UDL mindset. Take a moment to read this statement as I read it aloud. This is the definition of UDL. Consider if there are any words or phrases that stand out to you. Universal Design for Learning is an educational framework based on research in the learning sciences that guides the development of flexible methods, materials, and environments that embrace variability, minimize barriers, and develop expert learning for all. This slide is a refresher from September's faculty meeting. There are three core concepts of UDL. Neuroscience or learner variability, which is the variability within every single learner. Architecture design, which says that the barrier is in the environment, not in the learner. And the process of learning, designing for access and opportunity for each learner, whether an adult or child, knowing that learner variability is the norm. The first UDL core concept we will explore is grounded in neuroscience, that learner variability is the norm. What does this mean? It means that learners are so different from each other that we should build our lessons around the expectation that every single learner has his or her own unique way of learning. UDL acknowledges the scientific truth that no two brains are alike. This means individual differences in how we process information, solve problems, and approach challenges exist. By embracing UDL, we can create learning environments that support these diverse learning needs, ensuring everyone has the opportunity to thrive. To the coaches, there's a little bit of a sacrifice in doing this particular slide asynchronously. So you'll just have to imagine that you're doing this with a table full of people who are also doing this. Then you'd be able to compare your outcomes. So to highlight the concept of neurodiversity, we will engage in an activity around our own individual learning profiles. On your session guide, which is the document you used to get to this video, open the document called Learning Profile Template. Self-assess each skill category named outside of the outermost ring. You'll see that there are 3 rings that represent low, medium, and high. You will place a dot somewhere along that continuum for each skill category based on your own perception of yourself. This would be a good time to pause the video and place your dots on the rings. There's no one way to perceive where you rank yourself. In fact, if you ranked yourself tomorrow, your profile might look a little different. But once you have your 8 dots placed on the profile, use a line to connect the dots together to make the profile of your shape. Take a look at your profile shape. If you have time this week, ask your neighbor teacher to see their profile. As you can imagine, you could interview every person in your department or in your part of the school, and you probably would not find anyone with the same exact profile as you. Imagine if you did this exercise with your class. In fact, that could be a cool idea. Imagine yourself completing the learning profile early in the morning after you stayed up late doing something you love. Would your profile be the same? Well, what about if you did it after a really tough morning? Your learner profile may change based on situation and context. For example, you could be really organized at work, but not as organized at home. Or maybe when you were in college, you were really, really great at metacognition, but now your time is focused on family and hobbies, so the same skill you perceive to be lower because you don't utilize it as frequently. But it's important to note these dots are not permanent. They change over time, even within the same person. You'll notice in this image of the 2 learners, it's naming that they have the same score according to one assessment, and yet they have different areas of strength and areas for growth. So even when one data point can identify 2 individuals to be similar, we still have to consider each individual as a unique learner. As we prepare to close, reminder, UDL is based in part on the concept that the only thing we can anticipate about the learners in our classrooms is that they will be very different from each other as learners. And now you will return to your session guide. You'll see that you now have 2 choices. You can watch a video by this person here, Shelley Moore. It's about 5 minutes long, or you can read an article. Either one is fine. When you've completed one of those two options, there will be a short reflection.